And then, this hat has brought me so much luck.
What kind of luck has it brought you?
Photography luck. I'm married, dude. Come on. It doesn't work in that context.
I wasn't even thinking that.
Going on right now.
Yeah. So it's the day before the Out of Oregon photo conference, and myself and a few of the other instructors are heading out to shoot, and pretty cool morning. I'm not so positive we're gonna get much for light, but it's fun getting to hang out with people like these guys. We got Blake Rudis, we got Sean Bagshaw, we got Gavin Hardcastle. Who else we got? We got Mark Denny. Good time to talk about beach safety.
There's nothing quite like that salty, briny flavor. I want to taste the ocean. I want to imbibe of those lovely, briny flavors, and only through taking it into your mouth can you truly appreciate and potentially capture the magic of the Pacific Ocean.
It's definitely not what we're used to in North Carolina at all. A big surf day is about 2.5, maybe 3.5 feet.
What does AV mean on my camera, Nick?
Always video.
Always video. Okay. What about M? I don't know what M is on my camera.
M is going to be for masterful.
Masterful. Okay. I'd like to get there.
Throw it in M.
Okay.
That's all you really got to do.
Yeah, I struggle. I've tried it before.
Exposed it first.
Okay.
But it'll be alright.
All right, I'll try that.
That's what dynamic range is for. So we got a little bit of coastal fog rolling in. We got to see Gavin Hardcastle take a wave. It's been a good morning. I'm not so sure that it's a photogenic morning. There's a lot of really cool wave movement going on and stuff, but when we have gray on white, I'd like to have at least a little bit of texture up in our sky, just for a little added stuff. But yeah, what are you doing? Where's your camera at?
I'm assessing the scene. I'm doing my best Ansel Adams impression, just standing, kind of surveying.
Sometimes you just have to soak it in before you can properly.
That's right.
Properly take an outdoor exposure.
That's right. Yeah. I agree with you. It's a little gray, a little flat. I mean, it's beautiful, very dramatic. But if I didn't live close by like these guys, I'd be shooting. But you know, you and I, we can get here.
When you've seen it in better conditions, it makes it a little bit harder to pull out the camera sometimes, but it's just the experience of standing on a rock, watching waves. Like, there's no better way to spend a morning. Although I could have a coffee in my hand, I'd make it a little slightly better, especially if it was good coffee.
Yeah, where's your coffee?
I left it in the car.
Well, that's a fail.
I know.
Holy cow.
What an amateur. Like, leaving my coffee in the car.
Move.
Yeah, so I think we're just gonna kind of wander around, let the kids that are not from the West Coast take some photos. And then we have conference stuff later today. Still an awesome way to spend a morning. Gray mornings on the coast. Never seen one of those before.
Never.
So after hanging out with the guys in the morning, it was time to head back to town because I needed to give my keynote presentation for the beginning of the Out of Oregon conference.
As our opening speaker tonight, would you please welcome Nick Page.
So I get the feeling that, like, if this whole thing flops, it's going to be my fault. I feel like you just nonchalantly put the blame on it. Like, one of the things that blows my mind when people come up and talk to me and they're like all nervous and they're like, "I'm Mr. Page," which is super weird. Don't ever do that. But I'm literally just a middle-aged white guy that can take some pretty pictures sometimes. And sometimes, not even all the time, but what blows my mind is the fact that there's this concept of talent. Like, this person has something special that just makes them a better photographer than everybody else. It's crazy when people think that about me, because I know the truth. And today I'm going to show you the truth And you're not ready for the truth. But I figured, like, let's challenge that notion of, talent. Because it's hard to envision Aaron Bodnick ever being a terrible photographer, right? But let's see what Nick Page was like in the beginning. So I discovered tripods for the first time. I was experimenting with that Dutch angle thing that was all the craze, right? Didn't really understand highlights yet, because obviously I just threw those away. But Vanessa says, yeah, this is definitely one of my faves. So here's another, this is when I started working on my intimate scenes. Those little vignettes of nature and photomatics, because photomatics was a thing. Really beautiful, really retained all the detail, like everywhere. On this day, I discovered the clarity slider. It's pretty sweet. I was really working with minimalism here. As I was here, I didn't realize yet that photos needed a subject of some kind. But I did retain my highlights. You could argue, maybe I'm seeing a little bit of growth, right? Well, maybe not. Still in the photomatic stage.
So over the next few days, I led a bunch of different excursions, including a post-conference workshop. One of those excursions went to this particular beach. I really liked this shot because of the flow leading back towards the prominent sea stack, plus it was one of the few mornings that we had any color to speak of. In this shot, really I was just trying to even out the tonality between the bright sky and the really dark lava rock sea stacks, and tried to emphasize the flow leading back into the shot. One of the excursions I was probably the most excited about during the conference was this forest hike that I got to do with my group. We were greeted with light beams streaming through the low fog. It was absolutely beautiful, and I find that light streaming through a forest like this makes composition so much easier. In post-processing, I was trying to not only even out the dynamic range of the shot, so this is a 2-shot exposure blend, but I was also trying to bring back some depth and atmosphere into the shot. So I did a lot of dodging and burning, and I also did a whole bunch of Orton effect for this shot. Probably everyone's favorite evening was the final night of the conference and the first night of my post-conference workshop. My group and I got to photograph 18-foot swells crashing up against the Oregon coast at a place that is absolutely renowned for the way that the waves crash against the shoreline. These waves were shooting up 70 to 80 feet up in the air, and it's just one of those things that a person never forgets for the rest of their life. The hardest part of this is the fact that we were all taking thousands of photos, so it makes culling through your images very difficult, and deciding on 1 or 2 images really difficult, because frankly, a lot of them are really good. These shots are all about shutter speed. I was trying to keep my shutter speed nice and fast, because you don't want any motion blur in these waves. The challenging thing is light. A lot of times you don't have all the light that you need, but luckily in these shots we weren't having to push our ISO too high, like I've had to do often in the past. Over the next few days, my post-conference workshop photographed everything from fall color to waterfalls, seascapes, and lighthouses, and overall I'm incredibly happy with the images that we came home with.